Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Algorand's price chart, and this is now getting really interesting. Why is that? Because if you remember, the last time that we talked about Algo, we were, I think, right around this area, and I remember this because I specifically said, look, I'm opening some long positions in here in Algo because I do think we are having hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up off of the lows followed by a correction down. So if I'm right, we are going to witness some great moves on the upside, and I'm going to make a decent bet of money. On the other hand, I said if we go down and take the lows at that point, our move down is going to continue for quite some time. And well, unfortunately, I got stopped out of the market, and that was definitely the wrong call. And I would absolutely like to apologize for it. Now, question, what is happening right now, and why is it that this chart is starting to get quite interesting? Couple of reasons actually. Number one, in the short term, I think there is actually a bit of a bullish argument in here. You see, once more, if you want to argue that we're gonna have the lows around here, then okay, off of the recent lowest low, you have to be able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, followed by a slow and choppy move on the downside. Now, if I just go on the live chart and maybe zoom in more, let's actually real quick go on maybe 15-minute time frame so we can see the candles a bit better. There we go. So what do you have off of the lows? I think this might very well be like a 1, 2, and then probably I'm gonna say wave 3 to about this point, followed by possibly an A, B, C flat for 4, and then another move up into wave 5, followed by that. This is actually the real challenge, because sure, there is maybe an argument to be made for this move down to be a correction structure, but in an ideal scenario, I actually want to see maybe like yet another move down in the short term in Algo, and then a big bounce in order for me to be able to argue. Hopefully, this is going to be 5 up on a higher degree into wave 1, correction for 2, and what's next? You know the answer. Great move on the upside into wave 3 and 4 and 5. Question, what should we do right now? Right now, I think we should do absolutely nothing. I'm going to tell you in a bit why. But when it comes to the chart, one very important reason for why right now, although we might be a bit bullish, we should still be quite patient, actually comes down to this potential, not really confirmed yet, but definitely I would say potential head and shoulder structure like this. Now, why is this thing not confirmed yet? Simple reason actually. If you are a regular viewer of the channel, you know it. If you want to say that this head and shoulder is actually confirmed and is going to do the job and send us up, then okay, all you need to see is a break of the next line, and by breaking it, I'm talking about having a move, an initial phase above it, followed by a bit of a slow and choppy pullback, and then a continuation of the move up in order to take this side. If we do this, at that point, this head and shoulder, I'm going to argue is confirmed, and hopefully at that point, finally we are going to hit the lows, and this is going to end up being like a massive move on the upside into our wave 3. And by the way, what is going to be a likely target for this head and shoulder? You need to put your chart on regular scale first, and then measure the height of your pattern from here to about this point, and put this thing at your breaking point. Let's say we're gonna break it right in here. This is giving you like maybe a 16-17 cents algo in like very short time. So this is one reason for why I think this chart, at least right in here, looks quite interesting. The second reason actually comes down to what is going on in terms of classic technical analysis, meaning support and resistances. First things first, let's put the chart back on logarithmic and see where is actually the lows in Algorand. It's right in here about, let's say, 9 cents, 8.5 cents area. Now, here's a very important point. Please pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. In my view, right around the current price between, I think it was, excuse me, let's just take this object. Where is it? There we go. I believe it was between 12.1 to about 12.9 cents. We actually have like a beautiful support area, mainly I would say this time from daily time frame and partially from weekly time frame as well. And why is this so interesting? Because I think this might actually be the last line of defense in Algo. Why? Simple reason. You see, I think right around these areas, we don't really have a whole lot of strong support until around the lows in here about 8.5 to 9 cents region. So, God forbid, if we end up getting a break of this level, at that point, maybe count on, let's say, something like a 30% more move on the downside in algo, which is not ideal, but my goodness, it is going to be a fantastic buying opportunity for the mid to long term. And trust me, at that point, I am going to buy the dip a lot, because I do think by the end of this cycle in Algorand, and for that matter, I'm going to say in a lot of other altcoins as well, we are going to witness some great moves on the upside. So this is yet another reason for why this chart right around the current price action actually looks quite fascinating. Do we have some more reasons? I think so. Yes, you see, in the next 72 hours, this is essentially why I told you right now we shouldn't really do anything. In the next 72 hours, we are actually going to have FOMC minutes, and in my view, there are basically two outcomes. Either you are going to get a rate cut and Jerome Powell is going to be very dovish, which in that case, we are going to see, in my opinion, at least some great moves on the upside in Algorand, and generally, I would say, in risk assets. Now, on the other hand, there is also a chance that you are still going to get a 25 basis point rate cut still, but Jerome Powell is going to be quite hawkish, and at that point, expect some good moves on the downside. So you see, I think the 25 basis point cut is already baked in the cake, but that doesn't really matter a whole lot. I believe investors are actually going to pay full attention to the tone of Jerome Powell. And if he's going to be quite dovish, then okay, at that point, we are going to, in Algorand, witness some good moves up, which at that point also, I'm willing to bet, we are going to confirm this beautiful head and shoulder structure. So again, this is yet another reason for why I think this looks quite fascinating. Now, here is my last point. You see, in terms of indicators, if I just go on H4 time frame, there we go, because there's actually a very important sign that you can pay full attention to it if you want to know what might be the next move in Algorand and whether even we are going to get a break of this important level or not. You see, on the live chart, we are having a low, the other one is a lower low. However, in here in MACD, we are having a low, the other one is a higher low. So essentially, this is a beautiful bullish divergence, and since this is happening around the support area that I showed you, well, okay, technically we can say, you know what, this is an awesome sign indicating hopefully bears have actually run out of power, and right now we are primed for some great moves on the upside. I think this should very well be our base case. However, at the same time, any analyst in the interest of being objective should be able to come up with a bullish and also a bearish scenario as well. So in the interest of that, here's the deal. If you see in the short term a bit of a move on the downside in ALGO, and at that point in H4 time frame in MACD, we end up getting a break of the divergence line, you need to count at that point on two things. Number one, you need to count on ALGO getting a break of that important support that I showed you. And number two, you need to count on our move down in Algorand to unfortunately get accelerated quite a bit, at least for the next, let's say, 5 to 7 days. As long as we are not getting a break of this divergence line though, I think we are actually primed for a decent move on the upside. And this pattern generally, even if you don't like classic patterns and head and shoulders, I would say this is generally a type of accumulation pattern, which usually happens around some important supports. So again, I think we do have all the right conditions for a great bounce in algo. All we have to do is just be a little bit more patient and watch the FOMC minutes and see what is going to happen there. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Algorand's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.